12 teams remain, but only for 3 automatic spots. It's time to discuss the last round of World Cup qualifying for Concacaf. Before we begin, though, with that final round of qualifying, a quick recap from the second round. Some group winners were Panama, Costa Rica, Curacao, Jamaica, and Honduras, who all went unbeaten 4-0 during their second round campaign. Meanwhile, Suriname go 3-0-1 to be a group winner as well. Now, some close calls for those second spots to advance as well. El Salvador just a point over the top of Puerto Rico to advance. Bermuda the same over Cuba. And then Trinidad and Tobago actually advanced based on a better goal differential with the same amount of points than Grenada. And for those unfamiliar with who are in each group as well as the format for this final round, in Group A we have Panama, El Salvador, Guatemala, and Suriname. In Group B it's Jamaica, Curacao, Trinidad and Tobago, and Bermuda. And finally in Group C it is Costa Rica, Honduras, Haiti, and Nicaragua. Now, these teams will play a home and away series, 6 total games in their group. The top team with the most points, best goal differential, etc., will move on and take the top spot in each group to be automatically qualified for the 2026 World Cup. But here's what's important. Everybody's going to be fighting for that second place spot because the 3 second place teams will then be put into a smaller group to be compared based off how many total points they finished with, their goal differential, etc. And the top 2 best second place finishes will then be thrown into the Interconfederation playoff field for a shot to still possibly make the 48 team field in 2026. A quick look as well as the history of appearances between all of these nations and their respective groups. In Group A, Panama, of course, with their one and only World Cup appearance in 2018. Then El Salvador with 2. Of course, I believe the last time that they were in the competition was 1982. In Group B, you've got Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago, who have respectively each gone once. Jamaica, I believe it was in 98, and then Trinidad and Tobago in 2006. And then there in Group C, what looks kind of like the juggernaut of the group, or at least the group of death. Costa Rica leading the way with the most appearances. Honduras have been in a few as well. And then Haiti had one back in 1974. But certainly very important for these teams. And I think obviously with the expanded field, watching the United States, Canada, Mexico out of the way, this gives a great opportunity for some of those nations who have not been to a lot of World Cups, or for us to potentially see some debutants from Concacaf get the opportunity to go and maybe make a World Cup appearance. So now time to kind of dissect each of these groups individually. And we'll start with Group A, Panama, El Salvador, Guatemala, and Suriname. And for Panama, again, like we've talked about on this channel before, they have really shown a lot of great improvement, especially in their performances with tournaments and major games over the last few years. Again, they were the finalists in the last Gold Cup. They also were the finalists in the last Nations League as well. I think that this team is certainly poised to make a big run in this final qualifying round to potentially lock in their second ever World Cup appearance. And again, yeah, they didn't play as great as they would have liked in 2018, but remember, they had a very difficult group with England and Belgium both in that group, and Russia. But for me, Panama, I think, certainly are the top heavy favorites to win this group. I think Guatemala on the other side potentially could give them a little bit of a fuss. I think they might be maybe their biggest competitors in this group. We'll have to wait and see. Guatemala have made the last round of World Cup qualifying several times in previous windows, but unfortunately still just never been able to make it. But again, an impressive start here in the Gold Cup. They got that 1-0 win over Jamaica. They certainly can put together some good performances. Hopefully they'll be consistent enough to possibly maybe at least make it that second place spot if they're unable to win the group and advance to potentially an Interconfederation playoff. But as for El Salvador, it's just been a lot of really difficult times over the last several years and even beyond that. I mean, again, the last time that they qualified for a World Cup was 1982, and we really have not seen this team threaten a whole lot over the last few windows as well in terms of just seeming like a true contender to make it, even with this expanded field. So hopefully they'll put together some good performances. Maybe they'll shock us all and put something together and possibly get that second place spot. We'll have to wait and see. But then as for Suriname, I think they'll certainly be competitive as well. They've definitely tried to capitalize on players with dual citizenship, especially those with a Dutch descent. I think that this team certainly can put together some good performances as well. We saw them battle Costa Rica in that 4-3 thriller here in the Gold Cup group stage just a few days ago. So they certainly can go up against some of the higher-ups in CONCACAF. It's just I don't know if through a 6-game schedule with this group, especially home and away, they're going to be able to put up enough points to possibly get one of those top 2 spots. But nevertheless, a very interesting group, and I think fairly wide open behind Panama, who in my opinion should be the favorites. Now on to Group B with Jamaica, Curacao, Trinidad and Tobago, and Bermuda. And we'll start with Bermuda, who again, like we talked about earlier, being able to outlast Cuba in that second round to get to this point. This is the farthest that they've ever gone in World Cup qualifying, never gotten past the second round. So certainly impressive and a very nice feel-good story for them, if you will. However, I think it'll be very difficult for them to really take a lot of good points or good results away from this group, but we'll have to wait and see. For Jamaica, definitely, in my opinion, the top team out of this group. They should advance, in my opinion, especially with the attacking power that they've assembled over the years. Again, Andre Blake, still a very solid goalkeeper in the back, a decent back line as well. But for me, Jamaica sometimes seem to get in their own way more so than other teams do. And while sometimes they put together a solid portion of 90 minutes, again, sometimes their spoils come from within themselves and some of the mistakes they make on the field. I think if they can avoid that in this last round, especially throughout 6 games, that's a lot of time. Even if they have a couple of hiccups, they should, in my opinion, still be able to take that top spot, but we'll have to wait and see. For Trinidad and Tobago, I'm not holding out a lot of hope. Again, this group did their last, their one World Cup appearance was in 2006 in Germany. Obviously, now 20 years removed, would love to get back to it. But again, with performances like they showed against the United States the other week, and then even yesterday, while they did scrounge out a point against Haiti, I feel as if Haiti did not get that red card, Haiti could have gone on and comfortably won that game, maybe 2 or 3-0. But Trinidad just not showing a whole lot these days, and it's certainly very disappointing because I felt like that this was always one of those teams, especially over the last decade or two, where it's kind of on the outside looking in as far as trying to make a huge, break in being kind of considered one of those more competitive teams under some of the top heavy favorites in Concacaf. But for right now, they're not really showing a whole lot, in my opinion. For Curacao, a great opportunity for them. I think if they're unable to get past Jamaica, if they can take care of business against Trinidad and Tobago, I think they'll handle their business against Bermuda. Certainly a great opportunity for them to possibly finish second place in this. And if they can collect enough points, get into one of those top 2 spots for an Interconfederation playoff. In that final group between Costa Rica, Honduras, Haiti, and Nicaragua. We'll start with Nicaragua, the only team in this group without a World Cup Finals appearance. I think it's going to be really tough for them to get past these 3 teams to take one of those top 2 spots. But good signs going forward with this team. They still have some competitive games in the future. They did qualify for the first time in Division A for the Concacaf Nations League for the next window coming up. So definitely they're going to have some tougher competition moving forward if they're even unable to get out of this group and possibly get their first World Cup Finals appearance. Costa Rica, in my opinion, again, should be the top team. Again, we've seen this team in a number of different World Cups with some great performances as well. I think, again, this isn't maybe quite as talented of a team as we've seen make the World Cup in the past, but still within this group, I think that they should be the favorites to take the top spot and automatically advance. But for Honduras, again, a team I think that we're still kind of waiting to see if they can kind of get out of this slump that they've been in for quite a while now. I mean, again, their last World Cup appearance was 2014. They went back-to-back. They also made it in 2010. But we have not seen this team really be competitive in CONCACAF play in a while either. They've only made one ever CONCACAF Nations League semifinal, and that was in 2021, and they haven't been to a semifinal of a Gold Cup since 2013. So really been very poor in World Cup qualifying and other competitions amongst teams in this region. And as for Haiti, again, their one and only ever World Cup appearance back in 1974. I think there's a lot of positive momentum around this group. Again, they had that great run in 2019. Been a little bit disappointing in the last few Gold Cups, but remember, their women's side did make their first ever World Cup in 2023 as well. I think that certainly should give a kind of a bit of a boost for the men's side also in the federation, just to say, look, this is an opportunity. If we can really take ourselves and put our best foot forward against a team like Honduras, and maybe even scrap away a point or something against Costa Rica as well, I could certainly see Haiti maybe taking that second place spot. Well, guys, I certainly hope you enjoyed today's video. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already done so. And let us know down in the comments who you expect will win each of these 3 groups. We'll put up some poll questions on the channel here shortly as well. Certainly exciting for all this to come back in September and get this final round of qualifying underway. But let us know, too, some potential surprises you think, any first-time qualifiers we could see, as well as maybe who we could see possibly go into those interconfederation playoffs. But until next time, guys, hope you all have a great day. We'll see you soon.